Just recently, I celebrated the second anniversary of ringing the bell, the one that you ring when you are declared to be cancer-free and you have finished your last chemo treatment. My treatment's done, this course is run, and I am on my way. I remember that moment very vividly, and I remember how I felt during that whole time. And reflecting back 2 years later, it's amazing how far I've come in life and how far I've come, in terms of health, in terms of business, in terms of where we live, how we make money. All of these things have changed dramatically for me. And I want to talk to you today specifically about the perspective that this whole experience gave me. As much as I hated going through leukemia, it did teach me a lot about what's important in life and what to focus on. I'm going to talk through that today. My name is Tom. I'm the founder of Vertical Motion, where we help good people become great leaders. If you want to learn more about what we do, there's a link down below where you can find out more about how we help people. We have a program called the Executive Career Accelerator that helps mid-career professionals move to professional ranks, and we have other programs that are going to be launched very soon helping entrepreneurs. So talk more about that later, but today what I want to talk about really is the value of perspective in your life. So in August of 2022, I was told that I have 6 weeks left to live. I had been having all of these medical issues, strange things, like I had these little red dots all over my skin. I was very tired. I was losing weight for no apparent reason because I wasn't exercising. I was just lethargic. I had all these weird issues that were going on, and they had been going on for all of 2022. And then finally, on August 11th, I went to the emergency room and they told me that I had acute myeloid leukemia, or AML, and it was an aggressive form of leukemia, and that quite honestly, they felt like I had about 6 weeks left to live. And I remember being completely paralyzed, feeling like, oh my God, is that it? Is that the end? And I'll say that the moment that I realized that my life could be coming to an end was a whole thing that I went through. But I want to talk about the longer term experience in terms of the treatment and what that did to me. I went into the hospital. I was there for 30 days. They took me through my first treatment called induction. And like I said, they expected I would live 6 weeks. We found a week into the treatment, found out that I had some rare genetic mutation called CEBP alpha. In fact, that actually was going to save my life. And that if I can withstand the treatments, that I would be cured and live a full life, and all of those great things would come. After a week of wondering if I had 6 weeks left, I started to decide it didn't matter whether I had 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, or 6 decades left, but I wanted to live my life with true purpose. So that sounds great, but the reality is that going through the rest of the treatments really took a toll on me. I had to go back into the hospital 2 more times, once where I was near death in sepsis, and they took 8 days to get me back to some state of health over Christmas, in fact. And I remember coming home after being in the hospital during Christmas of 2022. And I'm like, I am going to get better. I'm going to get healthy. And so on New Year's Day, I went down to the basement, powered up the treadmill, and I walked 1.5 miles at a pace of 2 on the treadmill, which is about a mile every 30 minutes. So I walked for 45 minutes very slowly. And then I went upstairs and I had to sit down in the kitchen for half an hour. And then I made it upstairs to the bedroom finally to take a shower, and I just couldn't. I just laid down in the bed, and then I recorded this video. Happy New Year. January 1st, 2023. I just walked 1.5 miles on a treadmill at a pace of 30 minutes per mile, or 2 on the treadmill. And I had to take a 5-minute break in the kitchen before I got up here. And now I'm up here. I'm out of breath and I'm in bed. My plan was to shower and change, but I think I'm just gonna sit here for a while. I'm so far from where I was and much further from where I want to be. But this is how I'm starting 2023. Anemic, exhausted, but cancer-free. Here's hoping New Year's Eve 2023 is better than New Year's Day 2023. Yeah, that video hits me hard when I think about it. I remember being that guy. I remember feeling I'm so far away from who I want to be. And in that moment, I remember thinking to myself, I'm never going to get there. And now A little over 2 years after I recorded that video, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, boy, I wish I could talk to him right now. I wish I could sit down with that version of myself and let him know that it all works out just fine. And the reality is that it has. I did get healthy. I created Vertical Motion, this great company that helps good people become great leaders. I've built a community of people around me who care about leadership as much as I do. High quality people who care about each other. They care about getting better. They care about raising the tide for everyone around them. I have great people inside the company. I'm surrounded by an amazing family that's thriving. We live in Colorado now, which is someplace I've always wanted to live. And now we're here in our dream home, in our dream state. And all of these things happened in the 2 years between that video and this moment right now. I share this with you because people underestimate what they can accomplish if they set their mind to it. And the reality is that while not everything is perfect for me right now, it is a hell of a lot better than it was. And quite honestly, it's a lot better than I thought it could be. And there's a lot of neuropsychology around why this happens and how to do this. And my favorite read to recommend when it comes to this stuff is Atomic Habits, which is basically the idea of getting 1% better every single day. And that's what I did. I have gotten better little by little ever since that day, lying there where I was anemic, out of breath, didn't have enough red blood cells to carry any oxygen, to where I'm at now, where I'm strong enough to run a mile. I'm weightlifting 3 times a week. I'm losing weight. I feel great. I feel strong. I feel confident. And I'm doing my life passion now. My job is my dream role. And like talking to you about what it means to be successful in life has an entirely different meaning when I have achieved that success. But so many of us, including that person you saw in that video, so many of us just look up and say, gosh, that is too far away. And then we just give up. And we stop and we go back to distracting ourselves with the things that are around us. Leukemia took my ability to be distracted away. It took away my ability to pretend that the job that I was doing is just fine. I should just give up on all my dreams and instead just focus on making a good life for my family so that maybe my children can have a better shot at it. And I remember just like that feeling of like, I give up. This is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I don't love it, but this is what I, signed up to do in order to support my family. Leukemia taught me that I would rather sleep under an overpass with my wife than to spend the rest of my life doing something I hate. And it was my wife who actually said to me when I went back to work after leukemia and I just, some bad things happened at the job and she's like, you beat cancer to deal with this? And I remember when she said that to me, it's like, yeah, you're right. I didn't beat cancer just to be this version of me. I beat cancer to do something great. And that absolutely lit a fire under me and off we went. We built this amazing organization and now we're helping hundreds of people be successful in their executive career journeys. Bill Gates once said that people overestimate what they can do in 1 year, but they underestimate what they can do in 1 decade. And here I am 2 years later thinking about that. We did a lot in that first year. We did a lot more in the second year. And now we're into our 3rd year and things are really picking up speed because we try to get incrementally better, 1% better every single day. I think the message that I'm trying to convey right now is that there is hope, even if you can't see it right now. You can change your life. You can change everything about yourself in an instant. You can choose. You can decide to be different. You can choose to surround yourself with better people. You can choose to follow better leaders. You can choose to behave and act differently. You can choose where you live. You can choose who you surround yourself with. You can choose how you make money. These are all choices that you have. You do have that freedom of choice. And I understand, believe me, I understand that we all feel obligations to the people that we care about. If you're watching this channel, you care about executive leadership, and that means that you want to move forward in your career. But maybe you realize that there's a lid on your head and you're just not quite able to move upwards in your career. Well, there are things you can do. You can work with a coach. I'm a coach and I have a program, but more importantly, you can just be incrementally better, 1% better every single day. And if you're willing to continually try to change and grow just a little bit every single day, you get a whole lot stronger than if you try to do Herculean lifts in your career and then take months off from doing anything at all, right? And that's part of the problem that we all have, is like we binge diet. We just, we only diet for the first 2 weeks of January and then just go back to eating chocolates around Valentine's Day. That's not going to cut it. You need to lose a little bit of weight every single day, be in a little bit of a caloric deficit every single day, work out a little bit every single day. And if you do that every day, day after day, for years, you will be far better than the version of yourself you are today. So I think about that guy who was in that video, and I really want to tell him, yeah, just keep doing it. Just keep getting up, getting on that treadmill, get your red blood cell count back, get healthy, go do all the things that you need to do in order to be ready to build something great in your life. I would tell him it all works out if you believe in yourself. And I did. I believed in myself after that. And I want you to feel that same sense of belief in yourself without having to go through an existential crisis in the process. Because cancer is awful. But you deserve better than what you're giving yourself right now. If you're sitting there thinking to yourself, this is all I'm capable of doing right now, you're wrong. You're wrong. You don't know how much more capacity you have. And you're not going to find it until you find a purpose to chase after, until you have meaning in your life, and until you believe that change is easier ultimately than not changing. That change is better ultimately than not changing. I think that's a really valuable perspective for all of us to take into 2025, which is going to be a really interesting year. It can be a great year for us. It can be a terrible year. You decide which it is for you. And so keep that perspective that I was that guy, and now I'm this version of myself. And I did the hard work over the last 2 years to get here, and I'm not done. I have a lot more work to do, and I'm excited to dive into even more work, which is where you should be on your journey. Constantly growing, constantly looking for more, constantly building bigger things and better things for your family, for yourself, for the people around you, for the world. Keep that perspective as you move forward and think about what you want to do with your life and your career. I'll leave you with that and say, here's to 2 years of being cancer-free and hopefully 20 more years afterwards. Have a great one, and I'll see you in the next one.